the supporters will kind of dictate that a little bit. If the
Yeah.
demand just blows up and people want to see Jacob Cobb again, I'm in that mask in 2 seconds. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm always ready to go. Hey guys,
Yo, what's up, man?
what's happening, John?
Fucking chilling, brother. Jacob Cobb himself. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm stoked,
Yeah,
man. Thanks for having me on.
Fuck yeah, dude.
beautiful man too. Good Lord,
Hey,
the
thank you.
man behind the mask, sexy.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
You're
They
all
didn't put the
like,
mask on because I'm ugly.
yeah, man. You're all like fucking, you're all
You,
jacked up and shit, man. Like making us
you
look bad. It's all right,
yeah,
though.
Yeah,
I want to see
that's
you
a,
in the shower next time. Getting killed.
hey. I tried, man. I made that pitch.
I
I'm
was
gonna show it
surprised.
off.
I was surprised. No nudity in this one, but in the first one, you get a glimpse. I was surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was in the first one. That was kind of a last minute addition. I don't know if Dustin shared the 3B stands for blood, boobs, and beasts.
Right.
So we had to throw the boobs in there.
It's almost better when you don't, I think. Well, I wouldn't say better, fuck, right? Let's not sugarcoat it. But you know what I mean? Like if you don't, it almost seems a little more sensual, right? Like nothing's shown, but everybody's kind of imagining what's going on. And so in a way it's a little bit better.
Yeah, that was definitely kind of the idea with this one. That we had to have that in there, but we kind of toned it down. We made it more a little more subdued.
Yeah, plus it felt like these characters were like a little bit younger too, obviously. So like
hmm
They all play pretty close to their age. It's a little ambiguous. They're kind of
yeah,
late teen. They're supposed to be, not quite old enough to be getting into what they're getting into. So, yeah,
right. Yeah, it makes sense.
it does. It does. So Dillon Weeks. That is, if that's not a fucking famous name, I don't know what is. Like
I
I
hope it. I
know.
hope it will be.
that is a Kane Hodder of names. That's a Derek Mears of names. Like Dillon Weeks is just so cool. The Weeks last name is just. I was like, damn it, Dad. Like, come on. I've got qualls.
Yeah,
Like
Taylor Taylor
Qualls. Like, what the fuck is that?
Taylor Qualls doesn't scream fucking Oscar or anything like that.
No,
Now,
no. That's why
Neither
I
does
go by
my name.
Sebastian.
I got the most English name of all time, so it's cool. I get it.
right on, man.
But you is that so? Is that your given name? Like Dillon Weeks is your actual name or?
Well, so that's my middle name. That's what I've always gone by.
Oh, nice,
My
nice.
government name is Charles. It doesn't pop quite as well.
Charles.
Charles. We
Yeah,
Oh,
just had
yeah.
our last episode was Charles. Chucky, we had
oh,
Chuck Ryan on who played the miner in the
yeah.
Valentine Bluffs fan film.
I told
Yeah,
him the
man.
same
So,
thing. I hate Charles, man. That's a terrible name.
Don't let me forget
yeah,
that
man.
because I
So,
want to get into that too. But don't let me forget about Valentine Bluffs and fan films. I want to get
Okay.
into that, but let's keep going with what we were doing. Shit.
right on. But yeah, no, my family, kind of a family name. They all call me Chuck or Chucky, but yeah, I've gone by Dylan since I was born.
I
Really?
was gonna say, yeah, you're because you have Chucky in your tag name for Instagram, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck yeah, awesome, good shit, dude. Um,
So, are you drinking that Slipknot whiskey?
I got it on the cupboard over there. I might have to bust it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I
it's not Slipknot whiskey. It's just whiskey from Iowa, right?
no, Slipknot has their own line.
No
Yeah,
way. I didn't know
yeah,
this.
yeah,
that's
man.
sick.
Here, let me dip out real. I'll grab it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let
do
me
it.
see that.
I want to see if it's like a bourbon or something.
I think it is.
Oh, so this is like
Absolutely.
Iowa corn whiskey.
Oh wow, it's corn
Slipknot
whiskey.
#9
Whoa,
whiskey.
that
Oh my
makes
God.
it's sick that it's number nine.
Yeah, man.
That's so cool. Is it good?
So I told you, Taylor, I was straight edge up until like super recently. I grew up a hardcore straight edge kid. Uh, um, when Toronto Maple Leafs won the first round of the playoffs for the
There
first
you
time in
go.
like 17 years,
I
my
was
buddy
watching.
Sean up in Canada, he was like, "Man, I wish we could drink together." And I busted out the Slipknot and we did a shot to celebrate. So yeah, I'm a pretty novice drinker, but It was nice to dust that off.
I am not.
Yeah.
I drink all the time. Uh, so yeah. So I'm guessing they named it number nine, obviously, because of the number of band members, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they
that's
have
dope.
so we're here in the Midwest. There's a pretty notorious grocery chain called Hy-Vee. It's kind of like the I guess what's the big grocery store in Maine? What do you guys have out there?
Oh my God, Hannaford. Or what? How I would
So
say it is fucking Hannaford's guy.
so that we have like that here, but it's Hy-Vee. And
Mm.
so the Slipknot guys will do signings. They'll like pop up at like different
No
Hy-Vees.
way.
Yeah, man.
That's
Never one
sick.
close enough for me to get to, but yeah, like Clown was a big guy for that. He'd show up, Corey Taylor once in a while, and they'd sign those bottles.
That's wild. Holy shit.
Dude, yeah, see, I'm looking it up right now. I've never seen that anywhere. I didn't even know that was a thing. So probably gonna have to just send you some money. I'll pay for the bottle. I'll pay for the
Oh
bottle
yeah,
and shipping. I've seen them like an ungodly amount of times. I go full dressed up every single time I go.
hell yeah.
Um, you know, been in the mosh pit since the early 2000s. Like I've seen him with Paul and all of and Joey and everybody. So like I seen him in not really their prime, but you know,
Pretty much, man.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like their prime was like the 90s, man. Like I seen him in like 04, 05.
that's when I
Right on.
saw him. That's when
Hot.
I saw him too.
Yeah, and
Yeah, man.
man, I didn't know that was a thing, dude. I am. You were talking about that, and I was like, haha, he's from
Dude, I would
Iowa.
I would love
Like
to, I would love to get that because I'm a huge Slipknot fan
me
and
too.
I'm a huge whiskey fan. So
Dude, yeah, so they've got three flavors now, or three different ones. They've got like a reserve, which is aged like so many years, and then they just put out like a red whiskey, and
shit.
they're all pretty big here in Iowa. So I can hook you guys up.
Fuck yeah, dude, that'd be sick, man.
Yeah,
And
I'm
it and
not.
it's
Yeah,
it's very I mean, obviously it's corn whiskey, so that makes sense for
Right.
Iowa.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, dude,
So
I saw them with Hatebreed, God Forbid, and Slayer, I think.
oh,
oh,
When
sick.
fucking
I saw them.
Slayer. I love
Yeah,
Slayer.
I'm all right with I don't love Slayer, but I was also
Oh, I don't
super
either.
I was
I'm
super young, so like Slayer was like even in early 2000s they were old at that point, you know what I mean? But Hatebreed and God Forbid were fucking woo, and then Slipknot was obviously just Slipknot, but
dude.
that was like the We Won't Die tour, I think it was. They came to Maine, Augusta, Maine, which is my hometown, which never happens. They came to like
Yeah,
our
that's
civic
strange.
center. It was fucking crazy, dude. I was like, this is wild. I was in eighth grade. And I was like, I gotta go to this shit. My mom was like, "You're not going to that." And I'm like, "I'm fucking going." My brother was like, "All right."
Yeah, you can't miss Slipknot.
My brother's like a huge like Jimmy Buffett fan, Dave Matthews fan, and all that shit. He's like, "We're going to Slipknot, fuck it." And I was like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
dude."
Dude, I went and seen Slayer at their last. I've never seen him before ever. I've never even listened to him. And I went and seen him at their last Tennessee concert ever, supposedly. And this has been, I don't know, like, let's see, my daughter's 5, so 4 years ago. Um, and that was the most outrageous thing I've ever seen, just because, like, they've been doing this. They know what to do. And the crowd, dude, the crowd is what, like, you didn't go anywhere it was like you know what Bonnaroo is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's like 30 minutes from me. So it was where Bonnaroo is at. And the entire place, just the rest of the weekend, dude, was just fucking Slayer. Everywhere you went was fucking Slayer. And it was the best. It was like that made me like Slayer. And then I started actually listening to him when I got, back home and stuff like that. And I do like them. Like I enjoy Slayer. I wouldn't put them on. But
Yeah, I'm
okay.
Yeah.
cool. I like Slayer, but yeah, they're not my favorite. They're all right.
No.
Yeah, it's
But
not what you put
Slipknot.
on your drive to work in the morning, you know what I mean? But
No, no. I'll throw on heavy shit, but yeah, Slayer isn't usually in the rotation.
Do you
I'm
listen
weird.
to like Attila or anything?
So my wife is a huge Attila fan.
Yeah.
Franz is kind of polarizing, and I kind of grew to like them, but yeah, it was. it was a little bit of a slow build for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first song I ever heard by Attila was that one's like 666 party with the devil bitch.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, oof, oh, this is good. And so like I recently like I watched Tapehead, the second one, actually the first one. I watched the first one. I was like, God damn, that dude's jacked. And I was like, I want to look like him. So I started working out and I started listening to Attila. So it's all intertwined coming back
Right
to
on.
Tapehead because you're
Yeah,
a
man.
jacked motherfucker. I love looking at your arms. They're so nice.
Thanks. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
I'd say
absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Man, but hey, if it gets you roles in movies, dude, it's
Hey, that's the
cool.
thing, man. I really want to kind of grow this thing. Whatever Dustin wants to do, like that's option number one. That's my guy. I'm loyal to that guy. But yeah, anybody that needs a heavy or man, put on a mask. I pretty confident, man. I'll outwork anybody in costume.
Yeah.
There's no quit. I sweat my ass off. I lost, man, on a 4-day shoot, lost 17 pounds just sweating it out.
Wow.
So
Was that on the first
yeah,
one or the
man.
second one?
So the second one, the first one, I lost about 12 pounds. The second one, man, and I didn't even realize it because I got pretty big for the second one, about 20 pounds heavier for that one. And man, we were shooting over like a 4-day weekend, and I hopped on the scale on a Monday, and it was like almost 17 pounds down.
Wow.
Wait, is that all it took to shoot?
Oh no, man, we
I
shot.
was gonna
So we
fucking
filmed
say,
on.
bro. Holy
No,
shit.
no, man. We filmed pretty much every weekend. We all got families and full-time jobs. Joe, you're an independent film guy, so you know that
Yeah.
it takes money to make these things. And so yeah, we're all full-time job guys. So yeah, we get
Mhm.
together on the weekends, and we filmed almost every weekend from pretty much July until mid-September.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I'm working on my film right now. We filmed. I mean, I had a skeleton crew, but um we filmed from June all the way till October, man. It was a heavy, heavy shoot. I mean, we weren't shooting nearly as efficient as you guys were just watching the movie. Um, but we I'm talking like 6 people on set at most,
Right.
and just absolutely brutal, man. And as far as I wanted to go into this a little bit because I know when I talked to Dustin. By the way, I know you're whatever he's down with. You're down with. That's a good dude to ride with right there, man. Because he's got a very creative mindset. Um, but being in character as far as like a monster goes, my movie has a demon, and it's not as heavy as Tapehead because you guys had like the arms, you guys had the whole mat. You had a full mask with like
Yeah.
going down to the
Yeah. Like a,
shoulders,
a
and then what
cowl
I
goes down to like top of the chest. Yeah.
yeah, and then you had the arms, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Up to the elbow, the sleeves.
which is super cool because then like your whole definition is what Tapehead is, right?
Right.
Which is super cool. Mine was basically a half mask, and then I basically created him in the script in a robe because I was like I don't have the budget to, we spent $3,000 on my movie, so it wasn't like a lot at all, and it
Right.
was so I was like I gotta hide a lot, I gotta make it creepy but hide a lot. But from what I remember Dustin telling me is you guys went for the first one, you did um Immortal Masks,
Yeah.
and that shit was heavy, right?
Dude, that mask weighed at least 15 pounds, if not more. You guys have
Yeah,
seen the movie, so it's got that big bulbous part, and
right.
that's solid, like solid latex rubber. That thing was hot and heavy. I wasn't able to express my face a lot. It's
Right.
pretty limiting, but man, yeah, it was a
Or
chore. At the
or
end of a
walk
shoot,
very well, right? I mean, from what I
I couldn't
understand, you
see. Yeah, man. So
they're like bringing you to your marks and shit like that. Like,
yeah. So
yeah,
how I'd have to get ready, man. The eye holes were too small to start with. And then we put the tape visor on, and that came literally the day before we shot. And I like a sliver of peripheral vision on either side. I couldn't see anything in front of me. So yeah, man, I'd flip that visor up and count steps. and then we'd
Yeah.
flip it down, and they'd set me on my mark and turn me loose.
So it blows my mind that you lost more on the second one. Now, was that just because of more shooting?
More shooting, and I was able to do more. I was able to
Yeah.
act and do more stunt because I could see. I could move quickly. I didn't have as many
Yeah.
limitations. So, yeah, just longer shoots, and I was on screen more.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember Dustin saying he was for the second one, he was like, I was way more concerned with his well-being because it
Oh man, they
was it
were.
was it was intense.
Yeah, he was forcing water on me, which is good. He never let me be
Absolutely.
thirsty or sweat it out too much. But and the lighter mask I could take on and off more often. So if I had a
Right.
little break between scenes, I could take off the mask and the gloves, slide them back
Right.
on, so it wasn't as bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's intense, man. Give us a little bit of insight on like sorry to throw so many questions right off the bat, but
No, go for it, man.
um give us a little insight on the difference between the first shoot and the second. Like obviously I just got mine in the mail a couple days the beginning of this week or midweek, and I was so fucking excited to put it in. I don't know if you watched the episode with Dustin, but I kind of fucking geeked out a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit because like I'm just a super fan of this project altogether. Like from the first one to the second one, I might even I'll just say I might even be a little bit more of a fan of the first one because like there's something about it, dude. I don't know what it is. I think it's the grind and the fact that there was gonna be a second one that makes me what made me the second one is far and beyond better. But I don't know. The first one's so fun, dude. And I I
How do you feel about the first one? Because I know
I love the
Dustin
first movie.
feelings.
I really do
Yeah, I
too,
mean,
man.
so yeah, Dustin, he's not as big of a fan of the first one as I am. I love it, just because it was my first project and it was something that we set out to do, and I feel like we accomplished it with no money. I mean, we sat out,
Mm.
we had no time, no money, and I'm still super proud of what we did. So yeah, I have no qualms about the first one.
Yeah, and I think for Dustin, it's maybe more like I think it's less that he doesn't like it, but more of like wanting to grow as a filmmaker, right? Not settling for something like that, where it was
Right,
great, but he was thinking like obviously he had a completely different vision that couldn't be accomplished with the first one and the budget and who you had on set and all
right.
that kind of stuff. Because we had VHS Mikey on, who I fucking
Yeah,
love, by the way.
yeah. Mikey's the man. He's home
I
team.
fucking love Mikey. But even he was like, I just wasn't. He's like you get around these guys. You get around you get around you get around all of you, and it's a different vibe. It's you guys are trying to accomplish something, and he was kind of like, oh, I'm like fucking ADD, and like I just want to goof around. And he even said that, he was like, it was a different vibe. And you could definitely tell that from the first one to this one. um but I don't know, man. There's something about the first one that I don't know. There's something so fun about it. And obviously I think your character in the second one is well written, first of all. He's a great writer, dude. Jesus.
So I'm pretty fortunate, man, because he and I are pretty tight. So along the way, as soon as we didn't even have the movie edited for the first one, and he and I were like, next time we're doing this. We had what we wanted to do. He had a skeleton for the second one almost immediately. He's sending me
Yeah.
pages every day. He's a great screenwriter, and I'm his hype man. He doubts himself, and I think that's common. Imposter syndrome hits pretty hard
Definitely.
for him,
Definitely.
and my job is I'm in his ear telling him he's brilliant all the time. I mean, he can write. He can flat out write.
Yeah.
There's still comedy in the second one, but it's not as slapstick. The first movie's kind of zany. This one's more serious, and the humor is in the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But I like that because that's what I loved about the first one. I really loved obviously the character of Tapehead, but I also loved um Dustin being in the movie. and then and Mike, and who excuse me, who's the other?
Evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Daniel.
Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Oh, dude,
that's
he's great. He's
yeah,
great, dude. Oh, wow, is he great? And he's in the second one as well. But like in the first
yeah.
one,
We had
he's
to bring him
great,
back.
man. Oh, he's so good. Dude, those three together though, as like a buddy comedy horror type like trio was so fun. And then what I loved about the second one was it felt like, and I said this to Taylor the second after I watched it, I was like, it just feels like a hangout with the main characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're hanging out, watching videos. It's very nostalgic. And it just felt like a buddy thing. And I really loved that he kept that aspect because that's what I loved from the first one was the whole them trying to set up their own movie store. And he went a
Yeah.
little bit different. You guys went a little bit different direction in this one where you said, hey, look, we're going to do, it felt like it was the same thing, but we're going to be watching tapes and it's going to be completely different characters. But it still had that buddy movie feel, which I loved. And then
What
obviously outside of those walls, all hell's breaking loose with your character, right?
Yeah, I'm
what
coming through town.
what's cool
Yeah.
is that he did a really, really good job in both films making you fall in love with the characters because that's
Mhm.
very hard to do. Um, it's you have this short time span to make someone like these people that you've created in your head, and he did it with both of them for me. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely adored everybody in the first one, and I loved everybody in the second. Like John and I, we've not talked about this. I don't have any complaints, and I'm not saying John does, but like I don't have any complaints about either one of them. Like, I think I see where you guys were wanting to go with the second
Mhm.
one, and I think you nailed it. I mean, for what you had and the vision you guys had, like your movie to me is brilliant. It took me back to everything. It's like you guys took so much, but you didn't take anything. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man. And that was what we
Like,
set out to do. We wanted impact. We wanted these characters to resonate, and when terrible things start to happen, we wanted you to be sad or upset.
Yeah.
I won't spoil anything for people that are going to watch this, but one of the scenes where I have a showdown with one of the characters, and um, the cast and crew were crying. Like my wife was on set that day. Dustin's wife Megan, she's filming. The people that were on set, they were in tears. Like we had an awesome scene. We choreographed it. It goes down, and the people
Wow.
watching who know that we are characters, they were in tears. And I mean, that was like a huge feather in the cap. We felt like $1 million.
All right,
yeah.
we definitely don't want to give anything away, but let's talk about that scene after we hit
Yeah.
because I
Get,
want to know which scene it is because you have
Yeah.
a few showdowns or not a few showdowns, but you have some pretty intricate kills and deaths in that movie,
Yeah.
and
yeah, and
I
that's
want
the
to
whole
know.
thing. Like, I hate that we can't talk about it because it gets on my nerves.
Well, it's not that we
Um,
can't, but we don't want to because
Right. Yeah. We want people to see it.
maybe we put up
yeah,
a spoiler. No, yeah, you're right. We want people
no,
to see it.
I think the biggest thing about Check the Candy so far that I've realized is that it's been a pusher for indie films. We've had a lot of indie filmmakers on from
Mhm.
top tier to I don't want to say bottom tier because that's a fucking insult to anybody that makes movies because making movies is fucking hard. But any level, you know what I mean? And I think that's what we've been doing with Check the Candy is like promoting these indie films and that it's, I did a big long post for you guys when I got the movie because I was like, this is what it's about, man. You don't support people like this, then you're not supporting the genre in a whole. You're just not because Dustin
100%.
said it. Dustin said it perfect. What did he say, Taylor? He said he wanted to stop fucking talking about it and contribute.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like
he's like,
that resonated so well with me because so far I've been a collector, I've been a critic. You know what I mean? Like just for
Yeah.
and it feels so shitty to not like a movie, but like it's so much easier to do. I feel like with the big movies because no one's fucking listening that matters in the sense of like Hollywood, right? But when you support indie horror, low budget, backyard horror, whatever you want to fucking call it, those are the up and comers. Like I truly believe Tapehead was from the
Tapehead
beginning.
Tapehead 100% is an up and coming thing. The right
Yeah,
person, the right person gets a hold of this. This is wild. Like
yeah,
that
I
vision
believe
that
that. I firmly believe that the right eyes get on this. And people are going to be like, "Damn,"
dude, I'm
you know,
telling
and
you.
and that's what I was saying.
I
That's what I
think we're
want to
going to get
do.
it.
That's why I don't want to give any spoilers. That's what I was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah. I
get
want
to.
people
It's
to
like
see it.
I want people to see it. I don't want people to be like, listen to this, be like, oh yeah, sounds like a cool movie, and walk away. I want people to be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's go fucking watch it because that's what you
Let's go
guys
buy it.
deserve. That's what you
Like
guys
that.
deserve. Exactly.
You got to get over to
So,
Dustin's page, man. I mean, do you have a link in your page?
yeah. I do Dustin's link tree like on all my social media.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, tell us right now, before we go any further, what's the best way right now for somebody watching to buy Tapehead 2 or 1?
Uh,
I encourage you
yeah,
to buy
they're
both.
both on that link. The site that Dustin uses the manufacturer he uses, basically they buy direct. So yeah, hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. I'm pretty accessible. And I've got the
Cool.
link tree posted. Would be
And
the easiest way, or Dustin's page.
we'll post it right here and in the bio as well because
Yeah.
from what I understand, that's really how he wanted to push it. He didn't want to go because I was trying to convince him. I was like, man, streaming is like the thing now, right? But
Yeah,
I
that's like his guilty conscience, and
yeah,
and I get it. He's a very tried and true guy. I love that about him. Um, we're making the movie. It's a love letter to our favorite VHS horror movies back in the day. It's got a VHS themed killer. It seems almost like hypocritical to stream that thing,
yeah,
but I mean, a lot of people like you have given that same feedback that man, you got to get it out there, get more eyes on it. The exposure.
yeah,
It's a tough road to hoe, man.
absolutely.
So
Because it's because he wants to make money back. You guys want to make money back, obviously.
Yeah, we have big ideas, man. We want to do a lot of stuff that
And
money. We got to start making money.
yeah, that's where I want the streaming because it's not I don't want you to stream Tapehead to make money for Tapehead. I want you to stream Tapehead because I want more people to donate when you guys make your next film. That's my
And that's
biggest
where we
thing.
see that. And I mean, that's a good point. I think that's where we see a difference. I'm pretty competitive, man. I watch a lot of people's Indiegogo's and campaigns,
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, they're here, and we were here,
right.
and that's the difference is awareness. That's
Mhm.
what we seem to have a hard time getting.
And that's what I've been talking to Dustin about almost daily. Like any way that we can do something, like let's
Yeah,
get this pushed, because he's not wanting to do streaming, and that's fine. That's his decision. It's your decision.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's and I agree, and then I
I
disagree.
actually
So
do
like,
too. I agree with you, Taylor. I mean streaming sucks. It's awesome, but it sucks for the indie horror guy because what is it? Fucking 5 cents per fucking whatever view. You know what I mean? Like I have my short film on Trauma now, and it's like I made what, Taylor? Like nothing, right?
it was
But
like six to nine
six.
dollars or something like
Well,
that.
I made $12,
Yeah,
which
that.
means technically, 2,000-3,000 people watched the movie, and it doesn't seem like a lot when you look at a check, right? But
But
overall,
man, you got to check from trauma. I mean,
yeah,
That's
which is
fucking
awesome,
legit. Yeah.
which is
yeah,
crazy.
that's worth more than the money on there, man. That's a pretty cool feather in your cap.
Did you frame that
Absolutely.
yet?
No, I still got it. I still have it in envelope sitting right here.
You
But
lazy son of a bitch. Frame
no,
that
you know
thing,
what?
dude.
I
Yeah,
do want to frame it,
hang
but
it up, man.
also I'm looking at it saying, you know what? That fucker doesn't deserve to be on the wall yet. You know why? Because I haven't done anything yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do more. And I have that. I feel like you guys have that same mindset where it's like,
Oh, absolutely.
you know what? Like you were just saying, looking at people's Indiegogos, like, oh, they were here and we were here. First of all, fuck all that bullshit, bro. First of all, this is where I want to come in with like Valentine Bluffs and other people we've talked to. Because we talked with Chuck, who played the miner, and we were talking about how, um, as far as fan films go, like no one, like there's a niche crowd for a My Bloody Valentine fan film,
Mhm.
right? Like it's a niche crowd. It's not like a franchise. And then you have like Vincent DeSanti, who we talked to, who's like, holy shit, he's spending $250,000 on it, and it's still indie. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
there's this huge range. But to do what you guys did with an original piece
Yeah.
is completely different. It's completely different to compare yourself to people who have fan films and then people who are writing completely original stories. And it's so much harder, right? Obviously. You don't have the fan base there already, obviously. But I really feel like you guys are creating a fan base with making the first one and then making this one. And then like, do you do another Tapehead? Do you make another original? You know what I mean? Where do you go
So
from here?
that's the challenge, man. And like the the supporters will kind of dictate that a little bit. If the
Yeah.
demand just blows up and people want to see Jacob Cobb again, I'm in that mask in 2 seconds. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm always ready to go. We've got some other big ideas. I think Dustin told you on your guys' interview with him that he wants to do an anthology.
Yeah.
We really want to keep, this Brower, Illinois that we've created. He's created, and I get to play in. We want to build that up. We want to do this anthology. He's got several short films that he's kind of toyed around with that would work perfect. It's ambitious though. I mean, we wanted 20 grand for Tapehead 2. We got 7 and we compromised nothing. That guy is a genius. He will make 7,000 look like 50.
Yeah.
So he can do it. But with this anthology idea, it legit, we'd have to get up there in the monies to make it work how he wants it to work.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe you could do acting outside of the mask?
Oh yeah, yeah. So he and I have talked, he might have shared it on an interview he did. But so in this anthology, I actually will play a detective,
Cool.
and I'll kind of be a through character in the different short stories. So yeah, I can perform without the mask. The mask thing was a lot of it was due to the physical abilities.
Right.
I'm willing to put that thing on, and if he said tomorrow I want you to run through a brick wall, I'll figure it out.
That's what I
Right.
was wanting to ask you too. Have you like ever done any kind of stunt work or anything like that? Like, because a
Haven't, man.
lot of
I'm
these
just
guys are stunt doubles or
Yeah.
right.
stunt guys.
Yeah, no,
Um,
like I don't have a background in that. Just a pretty athletic guy. I've been lifting weights since I was 12. I don't know if Dustin shared or not. Don't want to spoil anybody's vision of me, but I'm all of about 5'7". So to look the way I look on screen, that's some cool camera angles. But not too long ago, I could dunk a basketball. I just have a
Mhm.
lot of athletic ability, and I like to let it go. That's my outlet. I like putting on the mask. I'm a pretty kind-hearted guy, so playing somebody that's mean and evil it's fun, man.
so
Sometimes
whenever
that's what it takes too, is like a a kind-hearted person to play those characters because you
Mhm.
can kind of put on that mask and it feels like you change a little bit. Whereas I think if someone was all this whole like tough persona, it might not work as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
It's
not method, man. So in
yeah.
the behind the scenes footage and stuff, I'm that guy that once the take is over, I'm fist bumping everybody. I'm everybody's
Yeah.
biggest fan.
Yeah.
I'm hiding in the closet reading people's lines to them. I'm just kind of a utility guy, the locker room guy. I'm all about atmosphere and really trying to build everybody else up. And then as soon as I
I
put on
want
the mask, they better be scared.
Hell
I
yeah.
want to know I want to know who you looked up to because there was so much that I noticed like with your acting, the way you turned your head, like it's like I see certain things that
So
I'm thinking that you look up to, and if you did do that, that's you fucking killed it.
yeah,
But
so tell me who you got in mind, and I want
like
to see how
so
spot on.
so for one, and it's my all-time favorite is Kane Hodder. The
Okay.
way the way you just turn your head, like you just turn your head so quickly, and you have that walk. You're almost built like him too, man. Like I think he's actually smaller than you, like weight wise, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
probably
tall, but he's not as big.
he's like
he's
kind of
not that
tall, but
tall.
he's not that tall. Like
No,
he's
I'm as tall as he is. I'm
he it,
5'8", so like
Yeah.
when you meet him, like you feel like he's larger than life, but he's really not. I mean,
no.
I'm 6'2", and I'm matching up with him, but he's just he's a scary persona. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
has, obviously you think of him as Victor Crowley and Jason and all these
Oh, is he?
characters, but I'm sure he's probably at least 5'11", 6 feet,
Yeah, because I've been with
but he's
him
so good because
enough.
he was a stunt guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so he knows how to work that shit. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Tapehead is an interesting character to me. I don't know what drew me into the project. I think it was Mikey. I had Mikey on my first podcast before Check the Candy. And man, that dude is just wild. He's just such a weird guy in
He's
the
a
most,
different dude, but he's a kind-hearted guy, man.
yeah,
He's a character. He's the thing is too. He's VHS Mikey is his persona, but that's really him. There's not a
yeah.
big difference. I mean, he's a little goofier maybe, and he plays it up for the cameras, but not much, man. That's how he is.
Yeah, he got real with us, dude. I had to put I had to
Dude,
put
I
a
watched that
warning.
episode, man. It was
Yeah, I had to put a
yeah. No,
warning on because we got kind of deep with him, which is totally cool. You know what I mean? Like I'm totally down for that. But you saw this persona of Mikey that you don't normally see, especially when you watch something like the first Tapehead, where it's like that feels like Mikey, right? Even the way he's acting, it feels like Mikey. But to hear the things he was talking about, you're like, oh wow, like this is you understand where he's coming from a little bit more. And he's so generous as far as like what he wants to talk about. What did he say to us, Taylor? It was like, yeah, he was talking about his ADD, and he was just like, yeah, like 1 minute I'll be into like Norwegian sword fighting,
Yeah.
and then like switch over, you know what I mean? And like, I just love that character of
He's just talking
him.
about how he's got to hold that stick, that horse or whatever he's got, you know?
yes, his little
He's like,
hobby horse.
he's like, if I don't do that, I'll start raising the roof. You know, like he's so crazy, man. But like, he's such a cool dude, and I think it was him that turned me on to. He was working on the first Tapehead with you guys, and I had him on strictly because of who he was. I was like, this guy's like content is amazing. Like no one
Yeah,
does it better, and I don't know why. I mean, he has a bunch of followers and people view his shit, but I was like, man, this guy should be like larger than life right now. Like he's the type of guy that you turn on YouTube and be like, what the fuck is VHS Mikey up to? Like, what the hell has he done? You know?
the way he films is just incredible. Like the his edits and stuff that he puts together. And he credits everything to Dustin, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure he does. Like he was
So
talking
yeah,
about like lighting and all that good stuff. Like Dustin is a fucking genius, man.
Yeah,
Like that's super cool that you get to work with somebody. And it's not saying that you guys aren't cool, but man, he's just that mind that he has is fucking awesome, you know?
yeah,
oh, dude, he's brilliant. I mean, but yeah, the lighting. He's if you watch a lot of people that do a kind of a similar format to what he does on 3D video, he's been very influential. You'll start to see a lot of his lighting. People are starting to kind of like more or less bite that style. You know, his lighting style, his format. He's pretty influential. And there's people that they'll go on and have 10 times the subscribers he does, but they're doing a format that he I don't want to say pioneered, but more or less, that's his
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I want to know. I want to talk about the three B's. So boobs. What was it?
Blood and Beasts.
Boobs, blood, and beast. So
Yep.
he's married. He's married, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Megan, Dustin's wife. She's the director of photography on Tapehead 1 and 2.
How does she feel about the boobs part of it? Like I feel like that's just such
Yeah.
a touchy subject, you know. Like you're doing this with your wife, but like, hey, it's an '80s style thing. This is what we got to do. Does it go over well on
So,
set?
yeah. So how that worked on the first one, and it's one of the set pieces in the second one. Actually, that was filmed in Dustin's basement. Um, Dustin's a super good, wholesome guy. We're all very respectful. So the boobs in the first one, it was just Megan and Lydia in Dustin's basement up against this brick wall. So there was nobody else on set. It was super private. So none of us had actually seen that until the movie came out. So it's pretty
Okay.
nice. Same thing with the shower sequence in the new Tapehead. That was just Megan and Emily in a room together. So
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
tasteful.
It
There you
is.
go.
It is, but
That
I
is
mean
very
but
tasteful.
I mean he's still editing and shit, right? So like there's still
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this I mean but I guess that's what you got to deal with when you're a director and writer and you just have to think about the art of it rather than
Yeah.
everything
You got
else
to
of
do
it.
what draws. You know, people like to see that. People want to see boobs. People want to see blood. People want to see beast. You know,
Well, it's
like
also even for Dustin, I think, and for a lot of us is that's what you grew up watching anyway. So it's like this artistic point of view that like really can't be ignored when you're making something like that.
And
yeah.
like a huge influence for Dustin for Tapehead 2 was the final chapter. You know, Friday the 13th Part 4 is that's a huge, huge film for him.
Mhm.
I'm a Part 6 guy. So to answer Taylor's
Nice.
question,
Yeah, I
Kane and
thought you were.
CJ both. Yeah, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
yeah,
Kane and CJ
I
both are,
seen a lot of CJ the way you walked
yeah,
on those too. You know,
yeah. So CJ
that's
was a
cool.
big influence for me.
Hell
So,
yeah.
tell me this. I mean, for those who haven't seen the film, dun dun dun, Drew Marvick is in
Yeah.
this
Fuck
movie,
yeah.
Dude.
right?
So I wish I could like recreate the moment. So Dustin sends me a message one night and he's like, "Hey, Drew Marvick just because we're big fans of Pool Party Massacre, but
Yeah.
equally or even more so fans of him as a person. I mean, that guy's
Mhm.
like charismatic as could be. He promotes himself and his projects incredibly well. And I was like, he wants to be in Tapehead. He's like, yeah. He liked the first one. He wants a part in the second one. And I'm like, bring him in. So when he got here, I had to work that day. So Drew was already at Dustin's. And in the movie, you'll see his porch has kind of like these blinds on it. And so I pull up in front of Dustin's house and I get out and instantly like I'm kind of scanning. I'm like, where's Drew? And he just kind of steps out from behind these blinds. It was almost like surreal. And then he turns out he's just like he's a cool guy, man. He's just a regular dude. But I've met some celebrities before, and I was kind of starstruck at first by Drew, just because he's. I mean,
Yeah,
his social media presence is bigger than a lot of like big name stars. And
Yeah.
here he is. He's just a cool guy, and we're talking about skateboarding back in the day and uh, music. You know, he and I have a lot of music similarities, and
yeah.
he's
He
just an
was a
awesome guy
punk.
to talk to, man. Yeah,
He was a punk, wasn't he? Yeah, he posted some pictures of him like when he was younger, man. I'm like, God, his mom must have hated him.
yeah, he's just a cool guy, man. It was definitely like one of the highlights of the whole thing was working with him.
That's
Man,
cool.
he came in like locked and loaded. You know, he does a lot of different stuff. It seems like he's at a different con every weekend. You know, he's out there just really hustling, and he showed up and he knew his lines. He was ready. We could have filmed him in one take, honestly, and he was like, "Can I give you some more? I want to try this." So a lot of his stuff was he wanted to do it, wanted to try different things, and we let him, and it's awesome.
Yeah, he's good
Yeah.
he's good at his craft, dude. And I think that's how he makes a lot of his money is being in not like being in the films and then promoting himself in those films
Mm-hmm.
and going to cons and selling that kind of that merchandise. Um when we had him on, man, he was brilliant, dude. And Pool Party Massacre is just
Mhm.
such a good film. And more like more shit like that. I just want to push more shit like that
It's
because
so cool. It's so cool to me that Drew is that type of person who is like, "Hey, I loved what you did with the first one. Can I be in the second one?" Like he's so humble about himself. He's just like, "Hey, I'm focusing strictly on indie. Like indie is
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do." And he's made a name for himself in this community, and it's crazy. Like I commend you, Drew, if you're watching this
yeah,
shit.
absolutely. Between
Yeah.
this and A&P Films and
Yeah.
then everything he's done, man, is incredible. And to get that name and then shoot the scene, and I know Dustin like wrote that kind of on the fly
Yeah.
because
Dude, as
like
soon as
it
he got
was
that message, man, he was on the keyboard. He's like, "All right,
yeah
And he
yeah." He
did a
like
great
literally,
job. Can I just say this? That whole part was awesome. Like
yeah
that that was such a not a ginormous thing within the movie, but it was so important. Like that was such a good little part to have, and I loved it. It was, and I'm in envy of all of you guys.
yeah
oh,
yeah
it was awesome, man. It definitely was cool. And then he hung out for the weekend, and me, him, and Dustin kind of hung out. We were watching UFC. He's telling stories that like to us would be like pretty mind blowing, and he's just casually talking about filming a Nike commercial with LeBron James, and like it was no big deal. He
fuck
Oh,
did some commercial with Rob Gronkowski and Kevin Durant, and he's like, yeah. not a big sports guy. Like to him, it was just like a Monday, and to us,
Yeah.
it'd be like,
You're
man,
just
that's
yeah,
milestone.
you're just talking about all the greats of every sport. Like,
How tall is Drew? He seems pretty tall.
He's a tall dude. He's probably 6'3". I mean, he's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Looks
yeah.
like he's tall. I mean,
Um,
I don't know if it was just a beard or hair or what.
No, he's a pretty tall guy, man. If you stand side by side, like I say, he's quite a bit taller than I am. And
Do
it's
you think
funny
I could
because
take him?
he's pretty solid, man. Like he might
I
not
want
look it, but yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
Drew's tough.
challenge him. I'm
you
gonna
might be
challenge
you might be
him.
starstruck, dude.
Yeah,
I want to wrestle him and
All right, let's film it though.
like you
Let's
said.
film it.
Yeah. I want to wrestle him
yeah,
in a thing of
Coleslaw,
coleslaw.
coleslaw wrestling.
yeah.
um,
Drew's a big sturdy guy, man.
yeah, yeah.
He
Um,
looks it.
man, I hate LeBron James. Fuck.
I fucking hate. Like you
Well, I
said,
saw.
LeBron, and I'm like, I fucking hate that
Yeah,
guy. So
I
fucking
fucking hate
flopping
LeBron James.
bitch.
I'm
yeah,
a big Celtics guy, so he's with the
yeah.
Lakers. He's
Yeah,
fuck.
you're a New England guy, man. You have to hate LeBron.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? I can't deny the greatness. But
I don't
dude,
even know
that's
about that.
well, Taylor, come on now, brother.
I still don't
Ta-
like him.
Taylor
I can't get over it.
Taylor just became a C's fan because I got him into the Celtics games and shit, and he's
Oh
having a
yeah.
blast watching basketball so far. So he saw
Yeah.
LeBron James fucking hit the floor a few times, and he calls him a little
Oh,
bitch.
he's a flopper, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Dude, the
a
big
he
time
yeah.
flopper. We
yeah,
don't practice flopping, blah blah blah. We actually like the
and then
contact.
flops. Yeah, no,
Fucking dick. I hate that guy.
yeah,
The problem with the flopping thing, we'll get a little off topic on sports, but that's like the most physically gifted dude I've seen in the NBA, and he, like
yeah.
180-pound point guard knocks him down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean he's 6'8", 250. I mean he's a big
He's
boy.
jacked. Yeah,
But it also just shows to, if you can get the call, you get the call. I mean, it's your job, right? So it's interesting. It's NBA's trending in an odd direction with that, but I think they're gonna fix that because they saw a lot of that in the last couple of years, which is good about the NBA. They always try to fix that kind of shit. Whereas the NFL is just like, hey, people are getting concussions. Fuck it. We'll just let everybody
yeah,
keep getting hit. But anyway, back on topic. Shit. Um, I just want to talk about your character a little bit, man.
yeah.
Um, I just I there's something about this character, dude. And I know you guys are thinking of going in a different direction. And I know you probably are probably eager to get out of the mask and do some acting without it.
Yeah, I'm pretty eager to act on screen without any kind of prosthetics showing up. But man,
Yeah.
I love the character. Like
Yeah.
I went back through my messages. The first message Dustin sent me was in October of 2020. He's like, "Hey, I want to make." At the time, he's wanted to make a YouTube short film, like a Halloween special. He's like, "Hey, for next year's Halloween special, I want you to be the villain." And like, I couldn't have said yes faster, you know.
Yeah.
So we're going on 3 years of me playing or prepping for this character. I'm pretty invested in it, man. Like I would do it in a second. I know
Yeah.
creatively he's got so much in here that he wants to get out, and I'm stoked to do whatever he wants to do. But
Right.
yeah, man, I
You know
love the
what?
Tapehead character.
You know what'd be cool is that you said you were going to be a deputy, right? Or something
A
like this.
detective. Yep.
Detective. So what would be cool is if you found like if you put something in from Tapehead, you found like the tape, and you kind of pick it up and look at it and like you're looking at what you've done kind of
Yeah,
deal.
like the rewinder or something. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the
Keep,
things that when we'd have to get a little bit more, it'd be a tougher edit, but I really want to play a character who gets killed by Tapehead or like fight. I want to fight myself.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Uh,
I have a passion. I just want to do that. I think that'd be cool.
you know what? You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get incredibly jacked, and I will play Tapehead to
Yeah,
to come and kill your ass. Okay, that's what I want to do. That's my
let's
goal.
go.
That's my goal.
What we need
Yeah,
is a
when
short
Dustin sees
film.
this,
We need a short film of Tapehead versus. You know what I mean? Tapehead versus Jason. Tapehead versus fucking Michael. I need some shit like that, dude. That'd be sick. Not put a shit ton of shit, just make it a little couple clips here and there, but like,
But Tapehead wins every fucking time.
yeah, just like fuck it. Like every
yeah,
time,
so
maybe they're, at the end they're beating his ass, but then they accidentally step on the rewinder and it's over. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
then you come
no,
back
yeah.
and do your thing.
We talk a lot. We're not pretentious, and there's no ego, amongst the Tapehead family or anything like that. But I watch a lot of icons, slashers, and not that I talk shit necessarily, but like I'm super competitive.
Yeah,
I think I'd hold my own against any of these guys. And
absolutely.
the big
Yeah.
thing, Terrifier was super big this year. Terrifier 2, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, because Terrifier did so well, it kind of got some theatrical play. I'd line up Tapehead against either of those guys.
I would too.
Yeah,
I
me
would too,
too. I'd line
100%.
up. I'd line up myself against Terrifier. Not a big fan.
So I tread lightly because, like I said, I'm nobody. Like I'm in this community, and this is my contribution to it, and I'm eternally grateful that I've got to play a character in horror. So I won't say anything about other people making money, but yeah, man, it's one of those things where to be a pioneer, so called, for low budget cinema with almost a $500,000 budget or whatever. We're not
Yeah.
talking apples to apples.
No,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'll talk for you, bro.
Yeah.
Jacob Cobb for life, bro. So, um
100%.
I'm not gonna, I'm not a
I
big
would I would
it's known
kill.
throughout the community that I am not a Terrifier fan. I'm sure as hell probably not Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey fan. I can tell you that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie yet, but it sounds like
No,
it's
I'm
not
not. I'm not watching that one.
not great.
I
Yeah.
I'm not a Terrifier. I'm a Terrifier one fan. That's my thing. Like I enjoyed the first one big time. The
And see, I
second one,
respect the hell out of that one. I think
yeah,
it's they set up a
it's
really cool thing, and he's a fucking demented killer. Just I like not knowing why. I don't
yeah, it's
I don't feel
dirty and
like I
grimy.
needed.
It's
Yeah,
just you don't understand it, and I like that. So like
I
with the
hated it.
second one, I was
I
just
hated
like,
it. I hated both of them. I just don't like
you just don't like Damian Leon. That's what
No, actually,
you're
I
like.
do
Fuck
like him.
that guy.
Actually, that's it's the exact opposite. I think what I was telling Chuck Ryan when we had him on, I was like, listen, what the future of horror to me, and I'm going to call it now. You guys heard it right now. It's not going to be these writers and directors that are going to be making these badass movies. It's going to be people that worked in the field of of being special effects artists and people that worked in certain departments of the genre that are going to be making these badass movies, because that's where it's different for me. I think Damien Leone is great because he's a special effects guy. So if you can turn director and be unbelievable, because I hated the first one, and the second one I was blown away as far as the special effects went. I was like, no one's doing this as far as special effects go. I mean, this guy's fucking crazy. He's taking shots like he's throwing haymakers, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson talks about those two punches he throws, but it sounds like one. Like that's what he's doing, bro. Like he's taking it to a whole nother level. I just don't like the stories and I don't like the character that
right.
much.
I
But as
agree with that.
far as the special effects, I mean, this guy's taking it to a whole new level. And when you can make your own movie, obviously you're gonna be like, yo, I'm putting fucking everything I have up here right to paper. And he's going to create the best shit. You know what I mean? Like, because he's not being told what to do. He's saying, now I have my own movie. Now, if I want to rip a girl in half, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
I want to torture some girl and then leave her on a bed where she's fucking just mangled. I'm going to do it. Like, now you're going to start seeing that turn where people like special effects artists and you know, whatever you even if you went as far as like people like DPs and people who are into the cinematography being like, you know what, I should make a movie because I know what it takes to make this movie look unbelievable. All I have to do is get a team of writers together and make a great story. And you're going to start seeing that a lot more, where I think not that they're going to get phased out, but like writers and directors are going to be coming from different departments of the genre, I think. And
Yeah.
that's my call right
Well,
now.
Makes sense.
yeah,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah, man. And like a lower level, that's where Dustin comes in from that mindset, right? So as he sets out and he starts writing, he doesn't ever write himself into a corner, right? He doesn't write a scene that's so over the top that we can't execute it.
Right.
His writing is based on what he knows he can do. He was the principal effects guy. I mean, he's building props, he's building
Yeah.
doubles, he's a lot of the makeup work, for the blood and stuff like that. He's doing those things. Megan, his wife, comes from a photography background. Together they collaborate. They know how they want to light it. They set everything up. They have everything dialed in. Honestly, man, working with those guys is easy because you show up on set and they've got markers. They've got their, how many different scenes, how many different setups we're going to shoot that day. It's simple, man. To act or perform for those guys it's like child's play almost, man. You just show up, go to your marks, and give it all you got.
And
Wow.
that's where indie film comes in, because you kind of have to do it all, right?
Yeah,
And you have to rely on your actors, and you have to really rely on people like you who are ready to put in their all and not shy away from the moment. And that's important because, like you said, him writing in the sense of like, okay, I know I can't do that, so why would I write that, right? So I'm going to write this because I know that this is the way I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it from this angle because let's say I'm going to say it right now, like I'm not going to give it away, but that end scene with his son, brilliant. I mean, the angles he
it,
shot it at are perfect.
and
You
see,
could
and a
you
lot of
couldn't do it
people
better.
they would, yeah, a lot of people, that's why we keep everything pretty tight, in house. When he sent me those pages, it was like a home run to me. It was a no brainer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a pun, but anyway,
True. That definitely is a pun. I'm
yeah,
clipping
we'll leave it
that
alone.
shit.
But
I'm clipping that shit, bro.
yeah,
I'm clipping
so
that shit.
yeah, man, he's not afraid to swing for the fences, man, and he's really good about setting something up because he knows the tropes more than anybody. He's one of the biggest horror fans I've ever met in my life. He
Yeah.
knows that stuff inside and out. He knows the tropes, but he also likes to flip some of that stuff because he knows a lot of his audience knows that they're expecting certain things, and then he rips the rug out, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, when you think of it from a filmmaker's standpoint, he knew you could tell like there were, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean, but you could tell there were limitations. You know what I mean? Where he, as a writer and director, was thinking like, you know what? I can't pull this off, but I can pull this off and make it look just as good. And that's what that end scene was kind of like.
Yeah,
I was like, the way he shot that, I don't want to I don't want to give anything
yeah.
away, but the angle from the
It's hard to
back,
talk about because it's so cool. There's so many things
right?
that
Well,
you want to highlight, but like in due
abs
Yeah.
time.
absolutely. And I told Dustin I want to do a kind of like I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the actors roundtable. I want to do a filmmakers roundtable with all of us and Dustin as well. I already talked to him about that either today or yesterday. My days kind of blend in, but I want to do a whole thing. Um and maybe we can go into it then, but that back shot after it happens,
Yep.
I was like, this doesn't look, from a filmmaker standpoint, I was like, I know what's going on,
Right.
but on screen, it doesn't look like that. I'm like, this looks good. This looks like it happened. And I was super impressed with it. And I was like, fuck Dustin, because that's really good. And I'm pissed at him because I can't do that. And I'm pissed. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck, man. Like I was jealous. I was like, fuck, dude, that was so good. Like the execution, the angles, just the angles he had, I was like, he knew what the fuck he was doing. Like he knew his limitation and he knew he couldn't pull it off in a certain manner. So he did it this way. And I was pissed. I was
So I'll
like,
tell you, he writes like that, like,
yeah,
and doing projects yourself, so you kind of know, a shooting script versus a spec script or your original script. He writes when he's writing, he knows how it's going to look on camera. It's crazy, man.
yeah,
He's like a savant. The dude's super talented. I really can't wait for people to see more of what he does, just because I get to see it every day. I got to read the pages, and as I'm reading it, man, I'm seeing it.
yeah.
I'm running through my house like as Tapehead as I'm reading script pages because instantly, man, I'm in the mode. I'm in that character because of how he writes it. I'm like, man, let's go.
That's
Like, put the
that's
mask
so
on.
cool.
I want to shoot right now.
That's so
Yeah,
cool that he could tell a story,
he
like
can.
just through a couple pages. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he even the way he fucking falls, I'm like, I was blown away. I was like, this looks great. The prosthetic from the back, I was like, this doesn't even look like it was, just being a filmmaker. I think maybe even most people would understand that it's a prosthetic, obviously, but like there was no difference between the actual actor, his son, and then the prosthetic. I was like, it was such a
Right.
glimpse. And I was like, the way he fell, I'm like, you didn't see anything. When it
Mhm.
has, they're filming from here down, and I'm like, oh my God, like that he understood. When you understand your limitations, it can take you that much further because now there are no limitations, right? When you bring
Right,
that
right.
when you bring that angle in and you understand what your limitations are, now there are no limitations because you're leaving it up to the viewer's mind, and it's such a split second. And I think that if you're just an average like watcher of movies, you might be like, you're just like, oh yeah, boom,
Mhm.
done. Like that, it just happened. But those couple seconds for me were a work of art. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, well, to film this was crazy, right? Like the angles he had to get were insane, and the planning you had to do.
How many cameras did you have?
One. Well, there's one scene where we use two cameras. So when I go through the bedroom door with the axe, we had a camera outside and a camera inside because I mean you basically got one shot to really nail that scene. So you need
Yeah.
to catch it from both angles. We can't just buy an infinite amount of
Right.
hollow core doors. We got
Yeah.
a budget. So to set that one up, we use two cameras. Everything
Was
else
that
is one
really his
camera
door
now.
in his house?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so good. Sacrifice,
Um,
baby.
and
Sacrifice, baby.
after after the axe part of it, I was like, man, I wish I could have punched through it. I kind of want to do it with my bare hands, but
That would have been
no,
cool.
I always want to go bigger with my stunts. I'm like, man, we could do
Yeah.
this. I could run through drywall. Like, I'll do whatever you want.
Well, all I'm saying
That's
that's a
awesome.
reason. That's a reason to do another tape head right there, dude.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to break more stuff, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. We should just have a whole tape head where you're just running through doors and fucking flipping tables and choke slamming people and all this fucking
Yeah,
crazy
man.
shit. Because even in the first one, I saw like a lot of like choreographed, like, WWE stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
and a lot of that comes from Chris Daniel, Evil.
yeah,
He's probably the biggest WWE fan, wrestling fan in general. So we worked that scene out. And
dude,
yeah,
that's
that was kind of he wanted it to look more like. And there was a scene that it never got in the movie. It's in the outtakes, I think, where his story was that he was supposed to have been a wrestler. That was part of his life, and it didn't make the final cut. But
yeah.
that was it would have made more sense on how we had our showdown. But it's all right,
Nah,
man.
dude, it
We had
still make
a
it's
tight editing.
yeah, it still makes sense because like we even talked to Vincent who did like the Never Hike Alone movies, and he has in the first Never Hike Alone movie he has a choke slam. Jason choke slams a fucking dude through a wooden table at a camp, and I asked him, I was like, "Are you a WWE fan?" And he was like, "Not really." He's like, "But I do understand that there's a correlation between horror and wrestling fans." And I was like, "Man, because that choke slam was wild." I was like, that was right up everyone's alley as far as WWE goes. But yeah, great stunts. I mean, I don't think you have to have the background to show that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it looked
No,
good,
man, I'm just fearless. Like I said, I don't think there's anything I can't do
right?
physically. Whether it be, like I said, blowing through a door was pretty simple. I'm down to do more physical stuff.
I bet it was
Like
fun as
the
fuck too.
oh, dude, and like the blow to the dome from Tyson.
Yeah,
Like I said, when we tried it and Dustin tried to work his angles, and none of us were super dialed in on it. It didn't look right. And his son's like the sweetest kid. And I was like, Tyson, you're gonna have to. I got a mask. There's a little cushion. I want you to go ahead and clock me. And he's like, oh, I'm like, just go ahead.
yeah,
But after 5 takes, I was like, fuck. But yeah,
yeah.
so
But the
that
but the
fall back out the door, man, like that was just 100% trust, man. He hit me and I just went limp, and you know, I can take a pretty good bump. I don't really have that hesitation some people have, or where they try to like tense up. And
yeah,
he hit me with the bat, and I just flopped.
Yeah,
great scene.
that makes for a fucking killer. I don't. what do you call you guys? The ones behind the mask. Is it stuntmen? Like,
Yeah, I'm an actor slash performer, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
have to do like
I
I don't
don't
have
even know if
acting
there's
per se, but
Performer. I think performer
yeah,
is a great word because I think it can involve both
yeah,
acting
so
and
I mean it's 100% acting. Like you have to act. You're doing this. That's awesome. That's very cool.
have you ever thought about like if you were to do another one, like kind of writing out the choreography as far as the stunts go?
yeah. So in Tapehead 2, so Anthony Pond, who was in Tapehead 1 also, so our fight scene, Dustin kind of had a skeleton of how he wanted that showdown to go, and then Anthony and I went out. We did the most of the fight choreography for that. I don't know, probably 4 hours, man. He and I were just out in the yard,
Yeah.
people driving by watching us throw down in the in the grass. But yeah, that dude, now that we're talking about, he's a super good performer.
Yeah, he
He could
is.
be
Holy
like a
shit.
legit. He could be a legit Hollywood stuntman. That dude.
He was the other cop,
He
right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
skinny one. So
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
Officer Johnson. He's the
He was great. And
rookie.
then in the first one,
Um,
Man,
he's the grave digger, right?
right.
Yeah,
So
both the
he's really
Anthony
good.
is
cops,
like
both the
that
cops were
dude has like
good.
2% body fat. He is absolutely shredded. He's lean, so he only weighs like 135 pounds. So when I get to pick him up and stuff, we can actually do those stunts, without having to hoist anybody or whatever. But so when I grab him by the head, like I can actually pick him up off the ground. His legs are swinging. But hey, man,
Fuck
he
yeah.
can do the splits, back flips. The dude's crazy, crazy talented. He could legit outperform just about any stunt performer I bet you matched him up with.
That's awesome.
Hey, we're coming up on an hour.
Yep. Anything else to say, Taylor, or you want me to give me my final thoughts?
I think we should do final thoughts because you guys are absolutely killing this right now. Like you guys
Thank you,
sound
man. I
great.
appreciate that. No, like I'm a grateful person. Any you guys reached out and wanted to do an interview, and I take that to heart, man. I appreciate it greatly. I watch your guys' show almost every time it's on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well,
I like
thank
your
you.
episodes. I'm like a kid in a candy store, man. So when you guys were talking
Oh,
to
I
Dirty
love it.
Gnome Dan,
Oh,
yeah,
clip it.
Dirty
Clip
Gnome
it.
Dan was, yeah, Dirty Gnome Dan wanted to make a tape head figure, and I clipped that and I sent it to Dustin. I'm like, that dude knows about us. Like, I'm always blown away that people know what we do and appreciate it. So I appreciate you guys tenfold.
Fuck
Hey,
yeah,
cool,
man.
dude.
He
We
designed
appreciate that.
he designed this shirt.
Yeah, you
I know
did.
I love that shirt, man. I saw it on Instagram today.
Hell
You
yeah,
guys looking
man.
fresh.
Good shit, bro. All right, final thoughts. Fuck it. Here we go. Um, we'll talk a little bit after this, after we hit the record button. But I just want to say, man, I've been invested in this story and this project since before the first one, like when the first one was being announced. Um, I just super I don't want to say surprised, but just incredibly, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words a little bit between you and Dustin because what you guys are doing is what I've always like strived to do. I told Dustin this when he made the first one. I was like, I was very jealous. I was like, in a good way, in a positive way, not in any negative manner whatsoever. But you guys were just doing something that I knew was special. Um, and I still think it's special. And I think that Tapehead right now isn't still isn't at what it's going to be. I truly believe, I wholeheartedly believe that Tapehead is going to rise again, and it's going to keep rising. And people don't know even right now, even with the physical release, don't understand how good it really is. And that's what we wanted to do, me and Taylor both. Um, with this interview, with your interview, with Dustin's interview, is to bring light to projects like this because it's so underlooked and it shouldn't be because you guys have done something that is truly artistic, realistic at the same time, and a great story. He's a great writer. He's an incredible writer. He's funny, scary, emotional, all at the same time. You as an actor playing Jacob Cobb. That's not to be taken lightly, because it's not every day that you get to say that like a name, like Taylor was saying, is like it's a it's a it's a stronghold. It's something that you look back and you say, man, that's a name that I remember because of how good the project was and how good you guys did and how much work was put in. Jacob Cobb is will be a legend. I truly believe that. And maybe not in the sense that everybody thinks of Hollywood and selling millions of dollars and all that kind of stuff. But when you look back, think about it as like little known legends in sports, right? These little people that had these magnificent games that no one ever talks about, but every once in a while those stories get brought up and they're remembered, and they're remembered for a good reason. And I think that's what you guys are doing here. I think it can be more than that. I just want everybody to give that a chance, because it's not it needs to have more recognition. I tried to say that in my Instagram post, where if you don't support stuff like this, it's not okay, because in my eyes, because it makes me upset, because these are the people that are up and coming. You and Dustin are true workers of the craft, and that are going to keep the genre going when people are sick and tired of the Hollywood bullshit, right? And characters like Jacob Cobb have a great story behind them, a great look, a great feel, and a lot of emotion put behind the project. Not just the movie, but the whole experience as a project, where it's when you dive into the how much it takes to make the movie, how much it takes to act in the movie, to write the script from beginning to end. When people start realizing that that's the true art and not just the entertainment aspect, is when we're going to start appreciating projects like this. And I just want to say thank you to you, to Dustin, to everybody that's part of the whole Tapehead experience so far, kind of turning into a franchise a little bit. I just want to thank you guys for doing that, because you've inspired people like me. You've probably inspired more people. I know you've inspired Taylor. And it's just really cool, man. And I know I sound like a nerd a little bit, but
No,
it's
I,
it's
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, it's important. It's important what you guys are doing. And even and I want to specify the project aspect of it, because what you guys are going to do in the future, whether it's more Tapehead movies or whether it's something different, you guys are going to excel in what you do, and that's what I want people to remember. It doesn't necessarily have to be Jacob Cobb or Tapehead, but those are the things that bind you guys together, you and Dustin together, right? Not only as friends, but as co-workers and co-artists. And that's going to tell you guys to be even better than people think. And I want people to remember that if they get anything out of this episode, that you guys are doing something special, and whether it's Tapehead or any other future projects, that it's super important to the genre. And I hope that we get more people like you guys, and I want to have more people on this show like you guys, because that's what this show is about. And I just thank you for coming on, man. And we're gonna do it again with Dustin. We'll do a whole
Yeah,
roundtable thing,
absolutely.
and we'll push it even more, because it needs to be pushed.
Let me
No,
say
I
one thing.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Let me say one thing before we hang up. Uh, there's a reason why Drew wanted to be in this film.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched, this is for everybody watching. There's a reason why Drew wanted to be in this film. If you haven't watched the first one, go watch it. And also, I think everybody should be on the lookout for the name Dillon Weeks.
Thank you,
That
man.
fucking name, that person who acts in this movie is another Kane Hodder, is another CJ Graham. I'm telling you, you guys have done this and you've done it right. I'm very proud of you, and I hope you keep going.
And you guys are make me cry. I appreciate that.
Good. That's what it's
I
for.
do, man.
That's what it's for,
Yeah.
dude.
Hey, just from me to you guys, I love what you guys are doing. Like I said, I think that I don't know if I've missed any of the shows you guys have done, but I try to catch them all. I love the way you guys interact. I love how authentic you are, genuine, and you know, people like us, man. That horror exists for people like us.
Absolutely.
Dustin gave me this opportunity to portray a character, and 120% I put into it. I wanted to be proud of leaving some kind of mark, however big it is or isn't. You know, I've played a slasher. I mean, that does not go over lightly on me. I take that to heart. I was proud. I put everything into that with that mindset that these people, the CJs, the Canes, the people that I looked at in these movies, and I do it for people like that. They inspired me. I want to inspire the next guy who, maybe I'll get somebody to work out because he wants to be imposing, or he wants to get into performing stunts, or he wants to do this with his buddies. It's something that people can do. John, you've got a couple projects you've done now. It changes the way you look at other people's movies, right?
Yeah.
I watch mostly low budget stuff, and the stuff that people would point at or criticize, I see that as, man, I can't believe they did that with that budget. Or there was probably, our crew is primarily Dustin and Megan, Morgan on sound and everything else, and myself moving lights. I'm the extra crew. When I'm not on camera, we got 4 people that are trying to make a movie, and so you know what that's like, and that's the stuff I gravitate towards. It's shifted my mindset on what I watch and how I watch it. I don't ever run people's projects down, no matter the budget or what they put out. I do talk shit about the people that intentionally make a bad movie.
Right.
People that tried hard and made a movie that wasn't great, I'll give them a round of applause. The people that set out, it's a slap in the face to indie filmmakers that set out to make a film that's bad. They got these
Yeah.
big budgets and they make it look like shit just to say it's a bad movie. I hate that, but what you're doing, I respect the hell out of. I watched the trailers for The Devil Are We.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it looks good. I like
Thanks,
what
bro.
you're doing.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Like, so yeah, I'm a loyal guy, man. You guys gave me some love here, and I'm gonna follow your projects and support you and put that out in the universe. And that's what I love about the community. It's the people like us having these conversations and trying to help people that are like minded. And in that same wheelhouse that we're in. We're the ones that truly love horror, and we obviously don't do it for cash. I mean, we're
No,
not making
definitely
bank
not.
on these things. That's
Not
the
at all.
sign, man. We're doing it for love. We're doing these things because it's passion, and you get more genuine performances and creators from that standpoint. So, kudos to you too, man.
Well
Absolutely, man.
said. Yeah, that
Absolutely.
was
Round of applause for Jacob Cobb himself, people.
seriously. Everybody, let's get emotional. I wish we were all there together so we can just like kiss,
Yeah, big group hug, man.
or
Give me a nice one right there.
yeah, just all right on the cheeks.
All right,
You
let's
know,
end
Taylor, that
this.
beard looks soft, man. I like that. Feel that soft beard on my face.
it's have you ever felt like whenever you go pee and you have that pubic hair above your penis?
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's what it
Maybe
feels
don't
like.
rub it on. Yeah.
I'll rub
All
it all
right,
over
all
you.
right, all right. Let's end this, and we'll talk right after this,
All
guys.
right.
Hey, appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah.
Another Check the Candy episode down. Wise words from Jacob Cobb himself. Round of applause, people. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Jacob Cobb. That's
Yeah.
such a cool fucking name. You know what else is a cool name? Dillon fucking Weeks. That's a
Hell
badass
yeah,
name.
baby.